Morning. I'm still in the rock mood and I want to make up a view of an abstracted sort of view or a highly impressionist view of North Cornwall. I've a lot of experience of many holidays in North Cornwall, in the Watergate Bay area, which is very beautiful. Loads of lovely bays, lots of rocks, bags of sand. But I want to do a rocky sort of shore with the crashing waves again. I think it's good practice to, all waves and sea is difficult to do. There's so many aspects of it, and unless you really live by the coast and can study it all the time, people like me, landlocked, South London, have to either use reference material, photographs that I've taken hundreds, but I really want to make it up. I'm making most of my views up at the moment. It's good exercise. And what I've done, I've prepared this board. I've used the PVA glue, diluted slightly, about by 30% with water. I bought this yesterday, £7.95. It's a PVA bond, it's a woodworking glue, sealant, great for painting on concrete, so things will stick to it. And I thinned it down and I've mixed it in this old Liquitex bottle of gloss varnish, which is the acrylic gloss varnish, and this is acrylic. PVA is acrylic. And it's just a cheaper way of buying it rather than buying the artist stuff, 100 times the price. I've mixed it in this bottle, given it a good shake, and I've squirted some out on the board, hardboard, which I've rubbed down on the smooth side. I show how to do that on my tutorials. And sad to say, my tutorials about preparing and priming paper, watercolour paper and hardboard have had far more views than most of my painting demonstrations. So maybe I should just do preparing boards. Joke aside, it's a little bit uneven. I've tried to brush it out. I've used plaster of Paris. I've got a big bag, well it's not such a big bag, now look here, I'll show you what it is. It's a fine modelling plaster that we used to use as kids in rubber moulds, and when you mix it with water it's very sloppy and all of a sudden it just goes hard. Look, it's just a fine powder. Can you see that? And I mix it, I wet the board thoroughly with the PVA glue, then I sprinkle quite a bit of the plaster on it, and then I'll work it in with a brush, and in this case I use this brush. You want a stiff brush to do it really, so you can work out these higher spots, but you can build it up, and provided you mix it with the PVA glue, you don't want to put it on with just water mix because it'll just powder off. But if you mix it with the PVA glue, it becomes solid and a good surface, and as far as I'm aware, it's as durable as any other primer, just a lot cheaper. And you need to make sure it's thoroughly dry, and otherwise you're going to seal the moisture in. It's going to take ages for it to dry through the hardboard. So I'm just going to do a bit of a drawing. I'm using a bit of water for this, a bit of burnt umber. I can't show you the mixing, otherwise I'll forget to zoom back onto the painting. So I'll put in a bit of a headland. We can have crashing waves. This basically looking on Watergate Bay, and just a bit of the bay, and we'll have high water all the way here. And I imagine I'm looking over some rocks from the Newquay side of Watergate Bay. We won't paint any sand. I want this all to be rocks. So, and the rocks come from the erosion on the cliffs, which are very soft, friable material, and it gets storms, and every so often you get a massive rock slide, and all these rocks end up on the beach. And this is a bit of distance here. You've got a couple of Gull Island type things, and rocks here. So I want that all crashing on this shore. Right, I'm going to make that's made up. I'll just give that a quick blast with the hairdryer just to dry it off so I can crack on. Right, hold your ears. I'm not using the stay wet palette. I'll show you briefly what my palette. It's just a piece of melamine, I think that's what you call it. I've just squirted some out. Some of the paint I've taken out of the stay wet palette because I'm very mean with my paint, frugal. Shouldn't be, but I can't stand wasting it. Now I've got my camera angle so that I don't show my head. I'm trying very hard to please those that don't really like to see me moving the camera or putting my head in and out, and I can understand that. Right, okay, so we'll put in some distant, it's going to be a stormy sky, a bit of distant, distance, and that's going to be a bit on the blue side, so just a bit of these rocks here, they're all going to be covered with water, sea water. Let's just get in some of this. A lot of this going to be covered with the crashing waves coming round here, going down there. I'm using this lovely nylon brush. It's I think it's an inch and a quarter, Proline Pro Art brush. A lovely brush, but you've got to remember to keep your brushes scrupulously clean. Don't let paint dry on them, otherwise you'll be sorry. Another expensive brush it's gone. Right, let's bash in the sky. Now you'll notice if you're watching me for the first time that I'm wearing latex, not latex. Vinyl gloves. I bought a big box of 100 gloves because working with water all the time and using a cloth which gets wet, it dries the skin out, and I've got little chaps and all sorts of nasty things. Right, I need some black. I like using black, so excuse me when I find me black, me Galleria. The acrylics I'm using are inexpensive. The Galleria, they're not artist quality. You can use artist quality if you can afford it. Your money. And I bought a number of these from Wilkinson's. It's a British company. It's like a really upmarket Woolworths, if you remember Woolworths, until they all closed. And people love Woolworths, not knocking Woolworths, but Wilkinson is like a hardware store, but big. It's a family business, and they're knocking these out for £1.50. Great 200ml tubes of acrylic. So it's a little bit thin, especially the whites, but not a problem. As it dries, it'll get thicker. Right, just burnt umber, Payne's and ultramarine. I don't use Payne's grey. Not in with acrylic. I use black, straight in with black. And burnt umber with some real good stormy stuff here. You can hear the paint, the gesso on the surface. Just get a nice good stormy black. I'm going to try to make the storm clouds large rather than bitty, and I think it's down to what brush you use. I had a bit of red in with that as well. Oh, good, lovely, rich. A lot of colour in the sky. Might be big storm clouds. to like an evening storm, but great to counter change your lights against. I'm going to use a bit of the PVA glue diluted, and I keep some of it. Ooh, devil's own job getting that off. Right, bear with me. It forms a waterproof sealer, which is okay, but until you want to get it off. Don't think it's come off, is it? Alright, let's see if I can just prise. Prise it off. Just to make a start in it. That's it. Ooh. Right, okay. That's my medium to mix with the paint. It also thickens the surface. It's quite dilute, but it's better than perhaps water. But it'll give a bit of a gloss to this. Right, I'm going to put in some cloud over there. Now I know in these hills and cliffs there's quite a bit of sort of alizarin-y colours, so I've got a bit of alizarin mixed with a bit of sienna. No, don't use sienna. Yellow ochre. I get confused with my watercolour palette, where I don't use ochre because it's too opaque. Right, get a bit dark in there. A bit of black. See, then we can get some nice counter change going in there. Get my brush clean. I'm just going to put a bit of sea in, I think. Very rough. I want some blue and red for these shadow areas. Sorry, I start the sentence and I forget what I'm going to say because I'm concentrating on this. So, because all the water's coming all the way down here. Then by the time we put in our lights, we can model these as we go. I'm doing this while that dries off. Right, clean the brush. We'll need some light on those rocks, gold rocks. Don't know if it is, but right, just going to put that headland in there. Oh, it's a little bit wet. Right, let's use another brush now. I'll use this inch long flat, another Provence. Sterling, very expensive brush. Very, very good. Right, let's put in some now. I'm not going to make my cloud, my sea white, pure white. Just wants the colour of the sky into some of this crashing. Okay, I'm really going to town with this one. Charles Wolfe suggested I use a larger board, but of a wider shape. But I paint to the frames I've got rather than the size. I've got a really nice frame which I'll show you in a minute. Now that's where we want some blue shadow. I'm going to go back on the clouds in a minute. I'll show you the frame. It's a gallery frame. Let's just zoom out a bit. This one, lovely frame. It had a picture of slats in Devon, South Devon. It was in a gallery. The gallery I was in, he didn't want to renew the lease because of the way the kind of business was 3 years ago. And he's a very good framer, and he had a lovely gallery, really clean, nice. And put my gloves back. We're not in with an answer the phone. I'm of an age, but I don't have to answer the phone. The wife's gone out, I think. And he moved premises and carries on with the framing business, but all the pictures he had that were unsold, we did a deal. I gave him an oil painting and he gave me all the frames around the pictures plus some other ones. That's why they're really lovely. I wouldn't pay for them, I couldn't afford it, they're very expensive. Right, let's go into the sky. So the point being, paint to the size of the frame. That's still a bit damp, so I'm going to just, well, I'll carry on. I'm just putting paint on really. Want some red. Oh, the more orange, so I've got a bit of yellow to that. Change the brush, I think. Right, let's have a bit of grey, in dark grey, red, blue. Bit too dark. Let's just reduce that somewhat. Let's go over these cliffs here. Will affect the counter change a bit on those cliffs, but. Whatever you put on, you're going to cover up and just work at it, just model away until something happens. I've got some reddy greys. I want that darker there to show the spin drift and the roughness of those waves, but I want it dark enough so that the light will show on the edges of these cliffs and these little islands, tiny islands. Right, let's right, something's going on there. nice light here, and we can go back over it. So I want the clouds to be large rather than just little bits here and there. I like that before. So a bit of red. Oh, now nice grey. Right, now some grey. Red, blue. Stop it when I go too far. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I try to do my painting as quick as possible. One, because I'm demonstrating, and two, because we'd all get bored if we spent too. So I try to do them in one go now. Now I think we've lost a bit of that sky, so we're going to go back over it. But I'll let it dry off a bit. I'll put in some of these cliffs again. But I need a bit of, we'll use a finer brush. I want some darkish colour here. Just a bit of modelling in this. I'm not going to leave that like that. I don't want any small brush. I'm just trying to get some counter change going. Might even use a knife, a small knife. Right, okay. Back into the cliffs. Sorry, the rocks. Clean my brush. Get plenty of colour in these rocks, reflecting the sky that I'm going to do. So, yellow ochre, bit of burnt sienna. Bit of red. Colour. The larger the board or canvas, whatever support you're using, the more difficult your painting. I'm going to put some green on some of this. Right, let's get some darks in there. Bit of burnt umber and blue. There's a bit of black in there as well. Cream of colours. So I'm sort of scumbling now, just dragging some of these colours over the higher spots. Black. Not pure black, I'm mixing with the warm umbers and siennas. Now I've got a regiment here, and so I'm going to make one big. I'll make the nearest one big. You have to be careful of that. Otherwise, it all looks a repeat performance, and that's what we're trying to get away from. I'll get the water coming over there. Counter change. That's a bit better. Right, now we'll do a bit of back on the sky, clean the brush. Now some dark now, some burnt umber and blue. Go back on this stormy. So I'm building up a surface here. Now that brush is just making too many brush marks. It's very worn out on most of my brushes. Good darks now. Right, get some lights back in. So yellow, put these lights back here. needs to dry a little bit, I think. Let's just get these. Not bothered about unrealistic colours. Just catching a bit of the light reflected on from the clouds. Right, I've put some bit of grey back in there. So try and show a little bit of recession. Okay. Now I know there are lots of grey, darkish grey, slaty rocks in there. So I'll just get rid of some of that black to a darker grey. Right, now let's mix up a bit of green. I'm going to use, I bought Viridian. Let's see what this one's like. I won't use that one because I haven't taken the inside cover off of the spout. So I'll use a bit of this Galleria, what is it, permanent green light, just to show a little bit of seaweed on the surface of these here, but lightest green. Bit of white in there, bit of ochre. Let's there's a bit of black in there. Just dragging it, just a hint of colour in there. Just gently scumble over there, just drag. Right, now we'll have a go at the water now. So it's all starting to dry, but not quickly enough. So let's warm sort of. Oh, hear the wind. Ochre in there, I think. Just a bit of ochre in the waves, because you can overpower it with white. I can model them in a mo with some dark. Okay. By the time I put the darks back in these, the shadows in the waves. Drag some clouds, some water over this. Just wet rocks. Just using blue and red, cabin red. Okay, now we've got to get some more counter change into this water now. So that the lights will show a bit more. Reflects in the sky. Well, you wish you were having a go at this. Right, let's put in a bit of the sky colour that I'm going to put in. I'm going to do more of this when that's dry, which won't be very long. Right, well there. Just going some dark under that. Oh, a real raging storm going on here. How are we doing on the screen? Right, well, we're coming. It's more dark, I think, in the waves. Just blue and red. Now, I'm guessing all this. I'm working from sort of memory and from a sort of an abstract feel for this. Real good dark in there. The darker you go, the lighter your sea looks. But now we're going with some lighter sea, bit of ochre. Paint's getting nice and thick now. Now I don't pass myself off as a sea painter, I'm just painting my idea of what I like, just why I'm overdoing it all. Right, I'm going to put lights in there. Right, get back with some of that darker reddy blue. Right, I want to put in some nice lights in these rocks, some warm reds and umbers and this green on here. I'm not trying for any realism from these rocks other than produce some lights and darks. You can see there's some lumpiness on the priming. Right, let's see if we can get some drama into those cliffs at the back. We've got some darks and lights now. So I'll just use my red and blue. I'm going to go back on the sky, but I'm not happy with the edge of those cliffs. I want them light, but I want them bright. Just a touch. Just illuminating the tops of these cliffs here. Right, I'm going to leave that for a moment. Let's go into the sky now and put in those lights, red, yellow, well, yellow ochre. Oops. I don't want any patterns to develop like I did with the rocks. Bit of red, bit of I don't want to use a knife in this because it would mix the techniques too much. Right, let's get this coming in. Right, what's that look like on the screen? Oh, I don't look too bad. Just get that, just to show the light there. Tones are quite close on the top of these cliffs, but never mind. Right, I'll get a little bit of dark in here. Right, just a little bit of dragging over here. And maybe just a little bit of heavier sea. Well, I think that's a bit messy really, but I don't know, it looks okay on the screen, so maybe I'm a bit too critical too early, but just drag that over the wind, catching it. Still mixing a bit of yellow ochre with this, catching the light. Don't want it pure white, just get those yellows in there. Okay, let's call that a day. I'll put it in the frame and we'll see. I might work on it later on. But so bear with me when I stick it. Harry's come up to this. Be careful with this. Just fits nicely. Okay, well there we are. It's my sort of abstract type of so. Oh, Harry, I just settled you. Right, I'll. Harry the cat is just sat in my chair, and I've nearly sat on him. Right, let's just zoom out a bit. Sorry about the clothes era. Well, that's my version of a stormy sky over North Cornwall, over Watergate Bay. I'm sure I've overdone the scene. There's no great subtlety on it, but it's sort of what I had in mind. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll just say, oops, there we are. I'll say thanks for watching. I'll zoom you in. You can. Oh, Harry. Well, I won't zoom you in. You can see what it is. See you soon. Bye bye.